Hello and welcome to Bizburgh. I'm your host, John Hall. Today, the program is sponsored by City Mission in Washington, Pennsylvania. You can find City Mission online at citymission.org or by calling the ministry at 724-222-8530. That's City Mission at 724-222-8530. I'm always happy to welcome my friend, Dean Gartland. Dean is the president and the CEO of City Mission, and a story, Dean, that just goes on one person after another. And I'm greatly encouraged to think of 1941, and here we are in 2020, and how many thousands of men and women and families have been affected by the work that City Mission does.
Oh, it's a fantastic history of this ministry and all that has been accomplished, and the amount of people that have walked through the doors of this ministry, whose lives today have been changed and transformed, and who are living a whole better life, a whole new life than what they had before they walked through these doors. And to me, that's what encourages me quite a bit, and it's what helps me get up every morning and do what I do because of the lives that God has called us to serve. And so it's a great privilege for me to be in this position and be in this role and to be able to help this ministry grow, expand, to reach more people, to address the issues that the community faces when it comes to drug addiction and alcoholism and all of the other ills that many of the men and women walk through our doors that they carry with them. But here at the mission, they're going to have that opportunity to really take a look at themselves, challenge what their beliefs have been but prior to coming in here, but they actually get a chance to take a look at their life in relation to their a relationship with God, and because that's one of the elements and one of the aspects of living a life so apart from God for many years is that you never think that He's interested in you or in what you feel or what you think or even in your life and how you live. But God is deeply interested in every aspect of our lives, and that is something that most people don't realize and don't believe or have not come to that knowledge yet. And so here at the mission, we really want to convey that message that God really does love you and care about you, and He cares about everything that's happening in your life.
That's good. That's the central core message of the work that City Mission is doing day to day. Now, Dean, really one of the interesting things about City Mission is that your growth and development has really changed since 1941. Of course, there was a time when I think people thought about work for people in alcoholism recovery, and especially at a shelter where it was primarily men who were having serious long-term struggles with alcohol. And so, three hot meals a day and a cot to lay your head down at nighttime was sort of, the standard for many a decade. However, you've proven that in a totally different way where, in the past decades, you've looked at single women coming into the ministry and, of course, women with children as well. Can you speak to that? Because, alcoholism and addiction, it knows no sex boundaries or class boundaries or financial boundaries. It's an equal opportunity offender. But, of course, the work that you're doing, providing that invitation to people to know Jesus and turn their lives around. I love the idea that women and women with children also have a home now at City Mission.
Yes, and that's again, something that probably over the last maybe 15 to 20 years, I think it's been, where more and more women were coming for help, but we didn't really have the facilities to be able to do that. And so I think it was 2003, we were able to open up a shelter for women with children, and of course at that time we would take women that didn't have children as well, and so they were all in the same facility. It was a challenge, to say the least, that to be able to have that mixed group of women and women with children in the same facility. So one of the elements of one of the aspects of the vision that I had whenever coming here was that we really needed a separate facility for single women and a facility just for women with children. Their needs were different. and their life challenges were different, and so they were kind of addressing their issues in their lives a little differently. And so that was one of the things we really worked on. And so over the past several years, we were able to transition the single women without kids into their own facility, and so that they have something very specific in terms of programming that really centers on their issues. And then the women with children have their own facility now as well, and it's a beautiful facility. We were able to renovate that facility and really make them into single units that the women with kids have, and so they really have. It's almost like a single apartment where they have a bedroom and a kitchen, a bathroom, or a little kitchenette, a bathroom and a living area. So it really is almost like an apartment type living. Because one of my goals was when we were renovating the facility, what I didn't want the women with kids, I didn't want them feeling like they were in a homeless shelter. I didn't want that to be conveyed. I want them to feel that, I wanted them to be treated with dignity and respect, and to feel the love of Christ, that they deserve more and to deserve better. And they deserve us as the body of Christ. They deserve us to step up to the plate and do better. And so when we renovated that facility, we really were able to capture that. And so when the moms come in with their kids, they look at where they're moving into, and it's really a beautiful facility for them. And when we first opened that up, it was interesting to hear some of the moms say, "Is this really for me?" Because when they were thinking in their mind they're coming to a homeless shelter, they didn't expect to see and to be treated the way and to have an environment like they did to walk into. And so it is something that I'm very happy and very glad that the body, that people who support the mission really stepped up to the plate to help us be able to renovate that facility and make it into what it is today.
Fabulous. I mean, dignity, right? People are looking for dignity in their lives. And so to invite the stranger in, no matter what condition they're in, and to show them the love of Christ, it changes people's lives forever and ever. Dean, one of the great things that you do as you join us here on the show is that you bring people in who have been part of the program for some time. And today you brought a resident. Brittany is with us today. And Brittany, I'm excited to talk to you. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Real good. Thanks an awful lot. I mean, it's a step out of courage to come and join us on the radio. So thank you for that. So Brittany,
thank you. It's an honor.
Thank you. Well, I always want to hear people's stories, to hear what happened in their lives, their relationship with drugs or alcohol, and what that was like, and what the work that the mission's done and you yourself have done in your own life. So can you go back and you tell us that story from the very beginning? I mean, everybody, I think, who's an alcoholic or an addict has that remembrance of that, that early romance that they had with alcohol or drugs, and what that was like. And, and in my own story as well, I mean, it is a romance, and, you kind of fall in love with the substance and you think, well, life is grand, but it really never ends that way. So why don't you start us and tell us your story? Okay.
Okay. I came from, my family has a lot of people in my family have a problem with addiction. So
yeah.
A lot of times, my family doesn't even recognize it as a problem. Fortunately, my mom isn't an addict, and she's worked in drug and alcohol on and off throughout my life. But I was a really good liar, and so I got away with a lot. My dad passed away from an addiction when I was 13, and I started drinking shortly after, and using smoking weed, and just little stuff, and it progressed really fast though. And so all through high school I was the partier, and I hung out with all the older kids, and then right after I graduated, a couple years later, I got arrested and with a bunch of heroin, and I was clean for a little bit after that, and I had 2 children, and when I had my second child, they gave me oxys because I had a C-section. And after that, there was no. It went from, that one prescription with like very few pills to like I was shooting heroin weeks later. So, when that happened, it progressed within a couple years. I used every day after that prescription. I used every single day, and I lost everything. Before I decided to seek help, I was living in a broken down car in somebody's backyard. And then in 2019 in June, I decided to do something about it, and I went to rehab. And I went to at that point I didn't have either one of my kids. I lost my license in 2013, and I hadn't even attempted to get it back. I broke all ties with my family. I didn't answer the phone. I didn't call them unless I needed something. I was just like a shell of a human. Like I didn't have any kind of. It was just I lived to use.
Right.
And then I went to rehab. I went to I went to Gadenzia and Erie. And then I got transferred to a women with children rehab, and from there I did a long-term program. And at that point, I didn't know what I wanted to do because I didn't have anything to go back to. There was nothing. There was no home to go to. So I heard about a place in Washington that took women with children, but I was only allowed to take one of my kids, and I was at that place for a couple months, and I relapsed again. And I could have gotten away with it, but something in my heart told me just to be honest. And of course I got kicked out, and I got sent to a real actual homeless shelter, and it was the worst experience I think I've ever. Not ever had, but after having the clean time and having the love and support of everybody that was around me, and then going back to that, and it was back to the streets, everybody was using and around me, and didn't understand why I was going to meetings still and all that. And I found out about the city mission, and I called them a couple days in a row and couldn't get in contact with Miss Amber, who does the Women with Children, the AVIS program here. And so I think I was there for a week, and I just decided I'm going to knock on the door. And I started at one end of the campus and knocked on every single door, and it was the last door that I knocked on that Miss Amber answered the door. But I wouldn't knock on my own family's door, so it was way out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But
You're desperate.
so I had a little interview with her right there on the spot, and she said that she didn't have any openings available, but she would let me know if anything came up. And she called me the next day and said I could to come in, and I showed up, and I thought that it was going to be a second interview to get in, and she said, "Oh, you didn't bring any of your stuff with you?" And I was just fully in shock, because this place is beautiful, and she he had mentioned it's not you don't feel like you're in a homeless shelter at all. It's that doesn't even cross your mind whenever you look around this place. It's beautiful, and I just couldn't believe that they gave me the opportunity to come there, because I was just broken, and I didn't even feel like I deserved a place like this. I never in a million years thought I would get into a place like this. And so this place changed my life completely.
So how long have you been sober?
Since February.
Good for you.
And then I just had that one relapse, and before that I haven't touched opiates since June 29th, 2019. So,
I mean, it's a relief, isn't it?
absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, get that
Absolutely.
monkey off your back. Just get it off of me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got here 1 week before the COVID dropped, so I had 1 week of like regular programming with all the volunteers and everything. To the next week, we were on lockdown,
Yeah, it's good.
and
The good
but I mean,
timing
it,
on
it
your
turned
part.
out it turned out okay. It turned out fine.
Yeah. Okay. So then, I mean, it's a great story because, you see yourself and, I love that, even in the midst of your turmoil, you see yourself and you're trying to get that thing, get it off me and trying to get clean and sober. And how many different places you've been to, but here you are at City Mission. And like you said, there is something different here. So talk about, the program that you're working right now, and especially because Christ is, here at the mission, it's a totally different feel. Your program has got to be totally different.
Right. So when I came here, I had only been to church one time in my entire life.
Wow.
So my family I wasn't brought up in a religious family. Like
Yeah.
I was, I mean, it was completely foreign. Like
Yeah.
I've never owned a Bible. I've never anything. So
So
I was
you're
really
walking in like,
uncomfortable.
yeah, I bet. So
Yeah.
you're feeling all these things like, oh, the world says this, these crazy Christians, this, and so all of a sudden you're surrounded
Right.
by it all.
But then the more I really like sat down, because like after I came here, like I said, we were on lockdown, so like I was given so much more time to sit down and really like take a look at things, and like
Yeah.
there were so many signs like that I couldn't deny that had to be, like there was like God was leading me to this place, no matter what it took. Everything, like every like situation, like it just led up to like I had to be here. And like within the time that I've been here, I've just been a lot more open-minded. We do a program called Godly and Gorgeous, and I learned so much about like the Bible and just certain things. And like it's still because my family is still not like religious at all, and I think that they think I'm crazy sometimes whenever I'm like, well, just like let go and let God. Like that saying never had any meaning to me until I got here.
Yeah.
But I get it now, and it's changed my life completely. I've never been this happy. I don't even think as a child, I don't think I was this happy. So, yeah. And like, I actually, on Friday, I got the keys to my house. Like, I mean, so many things have happened in this. I got here in March, and the blessings that have been put in my life are just like, I mean, it's just, I got the or resident assistant position while I lived at the mission. And now I put in an application, and I have an interview here at 1:00. So pray for me. But
For sure I will. Yes.
yeah. So I mean, I love this place, and I will always I mean, the changes that it has put in my life and the blessings it's put in my life are just
Yay. I mean, I love it
wild.
so much. Yeah, it is wild. I mean, it's good. I mean, because you can't make it up. I mean, the path that was before you, you couldn't tell somebody that this was going to happen. And of course, not growing up in a religious family, everybody around you thinks all of a sudden, you're weird or you're different or something. And you got to, sort of fight that with yourself before you even, come out transparent to those that you love. So you're,
Right.
fighting battles on all these different levels.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So good. So now you've got keys and you're going to be independent.
It's wild. I have both of my kids, and I'm going to, I mean, it's just crazy to me. I got a 3-bedroom house. I mean, I never could have imagined.
Yeah.
So,
fabulous.
I mean, even people that were in the programs with me before, like the ones that I was in before I came to this one, they move here and they're like, Brittany, like, you're so different. Like, it's not just me. Like, it's I don't know. I
Yeah.
love this
Well,
place.
okay. That's good. Okay. So Brittany,
Yeah.
clearly you have let go and let God in your life. And that's really the
Oh,
best thing.
absolutely.
Outstanding. Well, thanks an awful lot. I mean, seriously, you made my day by hearing that story. So I
Good.
really appreciate the transparency. Good for you. Praying for you. Go and get that. What's ahead of yours? Huh?
All right. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
My pleasure. Yeah. Hey, okay. So you hear that story. And Dean, I mean, there's somebody who just by the grace of God walking in as COVID's shutting down everything. And Brittany gets in the nick of time, changed her life for the better forever. That's a great story, isn't it?
Oh, it's an absolutely great story, and that is a kind of story that we hear quite often, and which is, again, as I said, I think at the beginning, which is those are the kind of stories that really, you know, get me up in the morning to be able to come to work and be able to do what I do, because that's when I think about Brittany and I think about where would she have been if the city mission wasn't there? Where would she have gone? What would have been the next step for her if the city mission wasn't here and if our women and children's program wasn't here? Sometimes it really challenges me, because here they do get the opportunity to hear the message of Christ. They do get a chance to really develop a stronger spiritual connection, a stronger relationship with God, and that really does transform and that really does change people's lives. And so hearing her story just gives me the confidence to know that what we're doing, we need to keep doing. And obviously we need many partners to help us to keep doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Hey, if you just joined us, this is Bizburgh, and the program is sponsored today by City Mission in Washington, Pennsylvania. Look at online, citymission.org, or you want to give City Mission a call at 724-222-8530. That's 724-222-8530. Okay, Dean, so just a few minutes here. I need to talk to you about, the engine that's behind all this. Of course, when you hear Brittany's story, there's a lot of different moving parts, but that requires somebody to say, yeah, I can write a check. And of course, this is a very expensive thing to operate, with the meals and the programs and the job training and all that. So we're hoping that there's somebody who's listening to this program right now and says, yeah, I can help you guys out. I can help you out with some muscle, with some prayer, but especially with financial resources. Talk about that, because in this weird COVID era, I mean, your regular funding sources have been sort of shut away.
Yeah, this has been a challenging time for us, and because things that we would do normally, that in terms of bringing people who are potential donors to take tours of the mission and to see how what we do, we can't do that right now, and so those have been really challenging things for us. Events that we normally would have, like we in February coming up in 2021. Normally, right now, we would be preparing for that and for a Sweet Sunday to come up, and so now we're thinking about, are we even going to be able to do that? Or we're going to have to do something like a virtual event. But one of the things is this, and I know people sometimes think that organizations such as ours, there's government funding that supports us, or monies that come through our medical clinic, things like that. Well, none of that happens. This mission runs solely on the goodwill of people who believe in what we're doing, really care about the community and about the people that find themselves in situations just like Brittany and many, many, many others just like her, that really want to make sure that they have food and shelter and programming that's going to help them really change their lives and get them back into society as healthy members of our society. So we were asking, and I ask all the time, hey, listen, if you're really looking for a place that gets results and that your donation really does produce well and you get a great return on your investment, the City Mission, I really hope they consider City Mission as part of their philanthropy dollars as they move into this holiday season. I'm
into that. Well, Dean, friend, thanks so much, really, to hear Brittany's story and to know the work that you do day to day. It's just really greatly encouraging to me, and I hope that our audience feels that as well, because, the cover's been lifted off of addiction. And so people who used to be alcoholics and addicts in secret, I mean, the fact of the matter is most of us know someone who's been impacted by this. So Really, just the excellent work you're doing. I greatly admire the work. So thanks for being with us here today.
Well, thank you, John, for having me.
So you hear Dean's work, you hear Brittany's story, and we would equip and encourage you right now to say yes to City Mission. 724-222-8530. I mean, these are odd times, and I know people are hidden away in the darkness and their fear with their addictions and their anxieties. So reach out, be a part of City Mission and the excellent work that they do online at citymission.org. Always a great pleasure to be with you. Thanks so much. God be with you. Have yourself a great day.